Welcome to the Adventures of Alcaraz podcast. I'm Julian Alcaraz.
I'm Miranda Alcaraz, and this is episode 2 of me being pregnant.
Episode 2. This is week 2 of us finding. No, this is one full week and a couple days of us knowing.
Yeah, so episode 1 was us recapping our trip and then announcing that I was pregnant.
Yes.
But this has been the first full week of knowing about it, and technically, until I'm told otherwise, I'm 5 weeks pregnant.
Yes.
As of yesterday. So, pretty early. A lot of people don't even know they're pregnant yet at this stage.
They don't?
This is usually around the time that people find out.
Because of their body and how it's feeling and stuff?
No, because of the missed period.
Oh, and there's that.
Yeah. But since we were trying, I was, tracking it a little closer than some people do when they find out.
Yeah. So how's week 2 been feeling for you?
I got to say that, so this is our second baby, obviously. Knox is 2 years old. I feel way fatter this time, way earlier. Not fatter, but I feel like I can already see it. You said you can already see it.
Mm-hmm. I can see your body changing a little bit. Mm-hmm.
What can you see?
I can just tell that...
Listen to him trying to he's trying to phrase it.
Well, this is, I can just see your body changing. I can just see.
What can you see?
Your body's holding more water weight.
Water weight?
Yes.
Like my stomach?
Just.
Or my butt?
Everywhere. It's starting to fill in.
Because I do remember last time my butt got big before my belly did. Like my butt and my legs, I couldn't wear my jeans.
Yeah.
Long before the stomach was an issue, it was like my butt and my legs. So I can definitely feel it a little bit, but I can already see it and I can feel it just like even sitting here, like how my t-shirt fits and everything. I can feel it in my stomach.
Do you feel like today you're having an off day? Why?
I think I'm starting to enter that mode of so when you're pregnant, it's actually very lonely because I would say especially at the beginning because there's still most people around you don't know that you're pregnant. So obviously our staff does, but even at the member meetup yesterday, the people there didn't know I was pregnant. So you kind of have to be fake. And it's all you think about, but you can't really talk about it. And I know a lot of women have this problem at work because they don't tell their bosses and everything until it's 12 weeks, which I think is dumb, but it's what most people do. And so it's something that you're thinking about and you can feel, and you feel shitty and nauseous and tired and everything, but you can't talk about it with anyone. And I guess, I'm starting to feel that a little bit, the isolation of it, even when we work out. Basically, every thing that you do every second of every day while you're pregnant, you have to think twice about. So how much coffee you have, how much sleep you get, how hard you go in the workout, and then you when you're trying to put on clothes, you start to feel different, and it's every second of every day. It's I have a headache right now, and I've had a headache most of the days this week. Probably a combination of being pregnant and a drastic cut in my caffeine intake. And then obviously the hormones mess with you. So there's just a lot that's you're on your own with. And I said, especially in the beginning, because 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, I guess, 2 weeks? 2 weeks ago, yeah, before we went on our trip, you're completely normal. Nothing has changed. And then overnight, basically, I would say from maybe 2 days before I took the test, I could start to feel not the greatest while we were on our trip, but I thought it was maybe the food we were eating and stuff. And then to today, so that's a total of 9 days, it's a complete turnaround, and there's not a lot of prep time for that. So
I gotta say, one of the biggest things that I have to remember in these beginning phases is how much mentally it messes with you guys, because you guys are going what you're just describing and how lonely it is. And then because for me, or for the men, you just a week and a half ago you were totally normal, and now you're having all these feelings and thoughts and insecurities really heightened, actually, because we've talked about some of them this week, and I just had to kind of when you brought some of them up, I was just wait, what? And then it's like remembering like that there's so much going on with you right now.
I think it's tough too, because even the people that know you're pregnant, unless they've also been pregnant, which here is, as far as people who are with us every day, is Kim, and that's it. No one else on our staff that I interact with like daily has ever been pregnant before. So unless you've been pregnant, you don't. When you look at a woman who's like just early in her pregnancy, you think that she looks basically the same, like she's probably fine. And then you almost see the woman, like once their belly starts to show, then everybody starts asking you how you're feeling all the time, asking you like if you need anything. But that sensitivity typically doesn't start until you look really different. And what's funny to me is I actually think, based off of my last pregnancy, and of course I've only been pregnant once, but I think that the first trimester is by far the worst, when you feel the worst. But no one like treats you like a pregnant lady until you have a big belly.
Yeah.
So it's tough that way too. Yeah.
How was your birthday?
My birthday was awesome.
What'd
I
you
thought my
do?
birthday was a great day. We had a bunch of people come over and we did my birthday workout, which was terrible. That was one of the days that we went live for street parking. Speaking of the pregnancy stuff, we went live for street parking, and I have to pace the workouts, which everybody that did the workout with us knows that, so that's not weird for that. But like, because all of our members were watching, I mean, even Chris was like, do you want to move and so that you're more in front of the camera? Because I was like hidden in the back. I was like, no, I don't actually. Thank you. And then I know a bunch of the members were like trying to cheer me on to try to beat you and stuff. And but it was great. And then you had a cake. Your mom made, well, it wasn't really a cake. It was a brownie on the bottom and a cookie on top with frosting in between, which was amazing. And everybody sang me happy birthday. And we went out to dinner that night with just the two of us, which was really nice, to a new place. And walked around, and you signed up for a random stick fighting class.
That's right. That's right.
And yeah, it was a great day. The birthday was a great day.
What kind of gifts did you get?
I got some really thoughtful gifts from you. That perfume thing that you found me was really cool.
Thank you.
So he got me this little like perfume thing where I don't know, it's like a travel, I can't even describe it, but it's a little mini travel thing that you can like spritz your perfume into it from the bottom. Anyway, so that was really cool. The photos were really thoughtful. The breakfast in bed was awesome. And that's happened a few times since then too.
Well,
actually.
what is it that allows you to have breakfast in bed? What was the gift?
The table?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he got me one of those little breakfast in bed table things. And it's like, has the little feet, and you like they bring in the hotels or whatever. It was really nice with a little flower. Him and Knox gave me my breakfast in bed. Oh, and then you got me the snoogle. The snoogle. It's like I feel like every pregnant person needs a snoogle. So the snoogle.
I want actually.
The snoogle. There's got to be other brands. I've seen other brands.
I
of
don't
these,
need another brand. I'll take that one.
The snoogle was it's like a massive body pillow, but it's even more than a body pillow. It like curls around so that it can be like a neck pillow while at this simultaneously being a body pillow. And
it's like a snake.
Yeah, Knox calls it the elephant.
Nice.
Yeah.
Because it's gray.
Yeah, and because it looks like an elephant trunk.
So back to rewinding to like the whole workout thing and everything, and how the members were like all cheerful and like, oh, go, try to beat Chris, but you purposely
No, they wanted me to try to beat you. Your time from before.
I said, well, like, let's just, sure, like that as well, right? I remember the first time you were pregnant, it hadn't been too long since like there was different things you were trying to prove, mindsets. How would you compare your mindset from first pregnancy to your mindset this pregnancy when it comes to fitness?
Yeah, so when I was pregnant last time, obviously Knox was a surprise, and so I was not in a mindset for it at all, and then it just kind of happened. And for me, fitness has always been the one thing in my life that I can control. Even when I've been injured or whatever, I have control, and I'm going to show, not really, it's never really been for anyone else, but I'm going to show myself that this is not going to stop me from doing what I love. And everybody has their little thing that makes them feel like they're in control of their life, I think. And fitness has always been mine. Even before CrossFit, it's always been like that for me. And so when I got pregnant with Knox, it was the same kind of mentality of like, I can do this. I'm going to show like myself, again, not anyone else. And I feel like last time I took a smart approach. I wasn't doing like heavy lifting or like crazy like muscle up workouts or anything like that, but I still felt like I needed to be able to go hard in these workouts to feel like myself.
Well, because you were seen as athlete Miranda still during that time.
Yes, and we were starting street parking, so I wanted to hold on to that persona from before for as long as possible so that we could have, in my mind, what that was necessary for us to have a successful business.
Because you hadn't embraced the mom crowd or community because you just didn't know what that. Yeah.
I didn't relate to moms at all before I was a mom. Like I grew up in a very like traditional roles environment in Salt Lake City, Utah. And so I think in my rebellion against that was kind of like anti the mom group, to be honest, because I just like was like, no, I'm going to be like an independent woman, you know, whatever Beyonce says I do type of thing. But, yeah. And then you become a mom and you realize that you're still you, and all of these moms are just so amazing. And it actually, in many ways, I think has made me a better, stronger person. But yeah, I didn't know how to embrace that yet. And I didn't even know how to wrap my head around that. So it was more of a struggle to get into that mode last time, for sure. Like the mode that I was talking about before, like where every second of every day is now not about me. It's about the little tiny fetus in my belly, and everything I do is for and will affect that. Now that I have Knox and I've been his mom for 2 years and he was in my belly for 9 months, I'm already kind of in that mode with him anyways. And so it's a little bit easier to wrap my head around that. But that doesn't make it, I shouldn't say easy. It's easier to wrap my head around it. That doesn't mean that it's easier to do.
So now that you know like what kind of feelings you have, that you went through, especially with like your body changing and stuff last time, you know, because all women go through it no matter what, right? The self-consciousness, insecurities and stuff like that. Now that you know that whole process again, like how do you feel about that whole change in your body and everything? Knowing, because before you didn't know what the purpose or the reward was because you hadn't physically experienced it yet, like obviously until Knox got there, and then there's the whole postpartum journey. So it was your first time doing that. But now that you know the course of it, of course, like that's also for me to kind of help you with those moments of insecurity. But have you thought about that and how your body, that whole process of changing physically again?
Yeah, so again, like I think this is something that people who have never been pregnant before, or people who maybe this is their first pregnancy, won't realize. I think that most people, probably men or women who have never been pregnant, assume that you feel the worst about yourself when you're like 9 months pregnant.
No, it's like the first, like 5 months for you.
Yeah. So, and right after. Like I remember when I was pregnant with Knox thinking like, oh my gosh, as soon as he's out of my body, I'm going to feel normal again. Like I just got to get him out and I will feel normal. And I don't really remember feeling that bad about how I looked when I was fully pregnant. No. It was like at the beginning when you can't really tell if the person's pregnant or not, when like, you know, it's like that. If somebody says something to you about being pregnant, they're like waiting to see if they made a mistake. Yeah. There's that period that we talked about. And then afterwards, the time that my body felt the least like it looked like my body was right after, for like a couple months after. Yeah. Because it's just like, now you have the belly still for at least like a couple weeks. You still look like you're pregnant and you're not even pregnant, and everything's just, I remember the amount of back fat that I had, and I didn't even realize it because you don't see it, but when we would like film videos, I'd be like, oh my gosh, this is, so the good thing this time, because last time you hear these horror stories from women all the time of like, oh, I gained 80 pounds when I was pregnant and I just never lost it, and you know, I've tried everything, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, is that gonna be me? And I was able to but regain a version of my body that felt like me. And so I'm not as worried about that this time. Nice. Yeah. But this week for sure, I've been more nauseous. I would say like every day. Yesterday at the meetup, I was really nauseous.
Yeah.
And that was hard because I couldn't, I was nauseous. I had to like keep sipping on water. I didn't really get as nauseous with Nox, I feel like.
No.
Not as much. Obviously the tiredness is starting to get really bad, which I did have with Nox.
Yeah.
And just like a fuzziness. Where I just feel like I'm not like firing on all cylinders. Like maybe I shouldn't make any major decisions for the company. Although last time it seemed to work out just fine when it was only me and you making decisions for the company, and I was equally as out of it, if not more so.
Yeah.
And yeah, just I can feel like a thickness and a fullness in my belly. Those are like and I've been really hot.
Yeah.
Really, really hot.
How's your sleep been?
Sleep's been okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't remember last time. I know a lot of women have big time sleep problems when they're pregnant, but the only thing that I had the first time was the my random carpal tunnel syndrome in my wrist. The rest of the time I was fine for sleep. So we'll see.
I remember you made a funny comment or something about the breakfast sandwiches. You were at the Starbucks or something the other day.
I did. I filmed a little because I've been vlogging, obviously. I've been tracking everything on my vlog and doing little random videos every day. And
how's your appetite like and your cravings, right? Your pregnancy cravings.
Yeah, so that's like a big thing that people talk about, right? It's like the moment they find out they're pregnant, this might sound really insensitive, and maybe I just haven't had the pregnancy cravings, but I do think there's something to this. The moment that you get a positive pregnancy test, I feel like a lot of women, anytime something sounds good, they call it a craving. And so the other day I was at Starbucks and I was hungry. It was time for me to eat, but I was finishing something up on the computer, and they were cooking, they were like heating up breakfast sandwiches for some customers, and they smelled so good. And I always think of Starbucks breakfast sandwiches smell good. So this wasn't like a new pregnancy thing. Like they always smell good to me. And I was like, oh my gosh, like that smells so good. I'm so hungry. And in that moment I was like, oh, this is where most people would say I had a craving for the breakfast sandwich, so I had to eat one. But no, because a month ago, if I would have been hungry, it also would have smelled really good.
Yeah, so you think it's just people, again, it's just they're hungry. So
I think people undereat a little bit and they allow themselves to get too hungry, and then the hormones combined with just like and of course people have like random cravings. I don't know what that's all about, because like the pickles dipped in peanut butter, like that whole thing that happens to people.
It could just be random eating habits that they had before that all of a sudden like they thought about in the moment, and it's really weird.
And I'm not trying to like craving shame anyone, but I do think you have to be like, okay, is this really like a craving, or am I just hungry? And even if I wasn't pregnant, this would sound really good right now because I'm starving.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that helped me to not be so nauseous with Nox, and hopefully will help with this one, is I'm already on all the pregnancy websites. They say to help you with your nauseousness, eat smaller meals throughout the day, which is just how I already live anyway.
Yeah.
And so I think that really helps. There's been a couple times like in the middle of the night when I've had to let Midgie outside that I'll like grab a little piece of like a Perfect Bar or something so that my stomach doesn't get completely empty, because I do notice that's when I get nauseous.
Right. But now we're loaded up with Perfect Food Bars. Like they're lifesavers
we have like
for
a
sure.
whole refrigerator full of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many people do you think you've told now up to date?
Including who you've told?
I've told maybe like 5 people.
I would say around like 20 to 25 people know.
Okay. Okay, cool. Nice.
Yeah.
So we have a test coming up this week.
So yeah, this week we have our first doctor's appointment, but they're not going to do anything like super cool. We don't get to do a ultrasound. The doctor's appointment's on Thursday. They do like an intake, which I don't even know why, because I've been to this OB twice before already for like just checkups. And when I was having the miscarriage, I went there. But they're going to do blood work. I know there's a lot of stuff they can see on the blood work that can help them determine how far along you are and stuff like that. And if the baby's like still growing. I mean, because they did all that same blood work when I was having the miscarriage. So I know they'll look at that stuff. And then I'm also positive they get women in there all the time who say they're pregnant and they're not.
Yeah.
So they do an actual blood test to make sure that it's good to go. And then I did ask them, though, because we're going to be in Hawaii when I'm 8 weeks, which is normally when you would go to the ultrasound, because I mean, I'm a worrier, as you know, and I had a miscarriage in January. So I'm like Googling all the time, which is, by the way, so bad. Don't ever do this if you're listening to this. But I'm Googling like chances of miscarriage by week because I know like the further along you get, the less likely it is. And yeah, they usually wait until the 8 weeks to do the ultrasound to hear the heartbeat because that's when they're pretty sure if there's a heartbeat, they'll be able to hear it. But we'll be in Hawaii, and the last thing I want to do is be worried about that the whole time while we're in Hawaii. Be like, oh my gosh, like I still haven't heard the heartbeat.
Yeah.
So I told them about that, told them about the miscarriage. I'm 37 years old, so they said that they should be able to get me in before we go.
That's awesome.
Because
Are you worried about the boat?
I am worried about the boat. So every time we go, every year we go to Hawaii, we go on this amazing boat trip, like a catamaran. And we see the dolphins and we go snorkeling and everybody jumps off the boat and everything is beautiful. It's like up the Nepali coast. It's like seeing Jurassic Park. And, but it's people get motion sickness on it. I've never gotten motion sickness on it. I've never had that issue with boats, but I am a little concerned.
Yeah.
This time that would be miserable. I've seen people miserable on that boat ride.
It's so bad. So let's just say you wake up nauseous. What then?
I don't know. I mean, I might ask. I looked on their site. You are allowed to go on there until you're like in your third trimester. So they allow it. So people have obviously tried it before. They wouldn't have that on the site. But I don't know. Maybe I'll ask some of my more knowledgeable
really worried
friends.
about you, to be honest.
You can just go on the other boat.
No, because then I feel even worse.
Yeah, you just ditch me and get off and you'd be like, oh, that was so great.
No, that's horrible, actually.
Yeah. So, yeah, kind of like a couple other things for this podcast because we're planning on doing this weekly to kind of like check in and see how things are feeling. And obviously, once we have doctor's appointments and stuff, we'll be able to talk about a little bit more.
Oh, yeah.
But I weighed myself at the begining.
Nice.
I gained, I think, right around 40-ish pounds with Knox. I can't remember the exact number. I was like already a pound heavier, but that also might have had something to do with my birthday.
Yeah, maybe.
And the water. It's water retention a little bit. Do you remember when I was pregnant with Knox, what you thought about how much weight women gain when they're pregnant?
Yeah, I mean, I just thought that they gained like a small amount of weight, like 10 pounds. I don't know, something ridiculous. I didn't process the fact that everything that went into it. So, I mean, not really things I looked into. So
it was so funny. I remember because it wasn't me that told you. Wasn't it Alex?
Somebody.
Or no, I think I told you like average is 35 to 40 pounds. And you were like, wait, why? The baby's only like 7 pounds.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, and then you even like called Alex and he was like, no, bro, your cousin. And he like explained it all to you. Like there's like all the water in there and then the extra fat on the woman's body and like the milk in her boobs and like all this stuff, the placenta and all this. And you were like, oh my gosh, you had no idea.
Are you going to do like an Ep.6 scan before and then afterwards?
I don't think I can. I think that's not.
Oh, that's right. That's not allowed. Yeah. The cool thing is you have something to look at however many months.
It was only like a few months. It was right before Jacked by June, so maybe in May. So it'll be
interesting to see like how long, based off of your lifestyle in general, like your eating habits and just how you are, and now to like how long or before you kind of full circle and the consistency and your lifestyle to get you back to that.
Yeah, and like one of the things that I post about all the time that I understand now that I wouldn't have understood before is there's not really, I mean, I'm already a mom, so there's more of going back this time because I already had like a little bit of a different body shape because I had one baby, but I think it's important for especially first-time moms to know like there's no like exactly going back, like your body's different. It's no different than the example that I use is my knee surgery. Like my right knee, I had surgery on it. There's a cadaver ACL in my knee, and my knee's never going to be exactly the same as it was before.
Yeah. And
so for people to go through this 9-month process, actually give birth to a human, like the whole thing, like it's not going to go back exactly the way that it was before. But
no. That's why like similar or just in general, right? Like something to compare to, and like. And you'll know, like, just how you feel and everything, so. I'm
feeling a little bit more excited about that this time, too, because we knew that we wanted to have a second baby.
Yeah.
I mean, at first you wanted to have, like, 4.
And then I didn't.
Yeah, the 4 Knoxes would not be. That would be too much.
Yeah.
But so there's kind of like this awkward, like, well, I don't want to like work too hard because I'm just gonna do it all over again. So I think I'll be excited a little bit more this next time.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I think that's a good kind of wrap up of week 2, to be honest.
How are you feeling?
I mean, I think for me, just, realizing that you're going to be going through like those feelings of feeling lonely and not taking it personal and not like trying to figure out like what is going on. Like, I feel like you're really out of it right now, and then knowing that there's not much that I can do. It's just being there and just whenever you're ready to speak, So there's a couple things that like I said, knowing, just being a little bit more prepared for certain stages of this and remembering what you went through at certain stages. For example, the breakfast in bed and just having a peaceful morning routine just based off how I know you're going to be feeling. Because like, it's hard to deal with daily stress stuff on top of what you're dealing with. So trying to find better scheduling and, just to make sure that everything is still, being as organized as possible and being done, that way you can truly enjoy this stuff. So, yep.
All right. Well, we'll check in after the appointment on Thursday. I don't know how much info we'll get, but we'll check in weekly.
Yeah, we'll do one Saturday and then we'll follow up. Yep. And that'll be the closer for the Adventures of Alcaraz podcast. I'm Julian Alcaraz.
I'm Miranda Alcaraz.
And we'll see you guys next week. Well, we won't see you. We will chat with you guys next week.